What's up, guys? So I haven't made a YouTube video in a while, but I'm back now. So I know you missed me, right? But yeah, I just had some stuff related to my Chromebook here, but now it's charged a little bit, so I got my channel onto this phone, so now I can make videos again. So you probably just saw my other video, but now I'm gonna make another video, okay? So I'm gonna be showing off my DVD collection, and I'm gonna be like talking a little bit about every movie, because I don't know. So starting off my collection is the 8 discs movies of A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'm gonna be reviewing all of them. So the first one is probably the best because it's actually somewhat scary, and just a really good movie, And the second one I kind of have mixed feelings about, because in the first movie they say that if you pull Freddy into the real world, he's powerless, and then he gets into the real world too, and he gets into the real world in this one, and he's just normal. Like, he has all the powers that he'd have in the dreams. But I do love Freddy himself in this. He's a badass, okay? Like, he's just killing everybody, and it's just really cool. Yeah, he's probably my favorite. Probably the first 4 Freddys are the Freddy from the first 4 movies are like the best in the series. Like, after 4, it kind of takes a downhill, or I mean, at least for 5 and 6, because 7, if it's even called part 7, is not really connected to the series, and Freddy is really good in part 7, although I don't know if you could technically still call him Freddy, because I'll talk about that later. But yeah, so next is part 3, which is probably my second favorite in the franchise. Yeah, it's a really good movie, and although I didn't really get scared by it too much, but that's okay, that's as long as I was entertained by the movie. But I feel like this is one of those movies where either you watch it and you love it, or you watch it and it's kind of I don't want to say boring, but you know what I mean. Or I think I know what you mean. We know what I mean, at least. But yeah, really good movie though. I'd highly recommend you watch it if you like horror movies, and even if you don't, I'd still recommend you watch it. It's not totally serious. Like, Freddy has a lot of goofy, not exactly really goofy, but silly moments, And in part 4, I think, is when Freddy starts to become not as scary. Still he was still kind of serious in this one. I feel like, for me personally, I feel like you could still take him seriously. You just couldn't take him you'd just be more intimidated by the first 3 Freddys, but you'd still be intimidated by this one. Don't get me wrong. So in this one, actually, I'm not even gonna spoil it, because there's something that's really weird in this movie that I want to keep hidden for a minute. Yeah, I like this movie. I like this movie, because not only is just the movie itself good, in my opinion, but what do you call it? In the beginning, there's this amazing song that plays. It's so catchy. I'd recommend you look it up on YouTube. I think it's called "Running from This Nightmare." Yeah, it's a really fucking good song. No, really damn good song. Okay. So anyways, here's that part that I said was gonna be a little weird. There's this one guy from the previous one, and he starts dreaming about Freddy again, or at least or at least like he has nightmares again. It's not exactly about Freddy until what I'm about to talk about, but yeah, and basically his dog gets sucked into the dream as well, and then the dog pisses, and then the piss it starts fire, and then the fire goes to the place where Freddy was buried, and it starts like reconnecting all his bones and stuff until eventually he comes back. So yeah, Freddy was resurrected by dog piss. Yeah. But like it's honestly not as weird. Like when you actually look at it, it's not as weird as it sounds. It's actually a pretty cool visual if you ask me, of course. But yeah, moving on to part 5. And this is when the movies start to become not as good, you know, because part 5 is like I feel like just having 5 parts in a series is just, I don't know, I just feel like that's a little bit too much, like, for anything. You know, unless it's like a really good series, of course, that's an exception, you know. But this is really when Freddy starts to become not serious, just more really goofy. And me personally, I like when like I like my Nightmare on Elm Street movies to be both funny and scary, like a healthy mix of both. You know what I mean? It can't be too funny and it can't be too scary. Not actually. I mean, if part 2 Freddy works, then you know maybe it can be all. But I prefer it to be like funny and scary. I don't prefer it to be just all scary or all funny. You know what I mean? But anyways, in this movie, the main girl from the previous movie, she starts dreaming about Freddy Krueger again because because she's pregnant with a baby, and according to the doctors, according to the doctor, babies spend like 75, like, no, unborn babies spend like 70% of their days dreaming. So the baby, I guess, got this power to suck people into their dreams, like the main girl, like her mom, like the girl's mother had. So I mean, I do think it's a pretty creative plot. I can't lie about that. But yeah. So it's not like a horrible movie. It's just not as good as the previous movies. Like, that's the way I put it. It's not terrible. Like it's watchable, but like it's not as good as the previous movies or films. You know, to be all technical. Moving on to part 6. I really did not like this movie. Part 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Wait, actually, real quick. The original movie is called Nightmare on Elm Street. Part 2 is called The Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Part 3 is called The Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Part 4 is called The Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Part 5 is called The Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. And then this one is called Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. So, in this movie, literally, there's one surviving teenager in the whole town. Like, that's you realize how unrealistic that is, right? Like, please tell me you do. Yeah, it's pretty damn unrealistic. Like, I get it, Freddy's a monster and stuff like that. He kills people in their dreams, but I mean, come on, is he really, like, come on, really? But and basically he tells this he tells this one guy to go find his Freddy. He tells this one guy to go find his daughter, who I guess that took away from him, like when he was a human, after it was revealed that his crimes of murdering children were revealed. Yeah, so now he wants her back, and then they can go beyond Springwood, you know what I mean, and just start killing people in other towns as well. Yeah, so this movie is really stupid, you know, and it's not like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation, where it's like so bad it's good. No, this is just so bad it's bad. Okay, Freddy is just not scary at all. You know, he's kind of annoying. Like I don't want to say Freddy Krueger's annoying because he's like my favorite horror character. He's like my all-time favorite movie character. But like, he's just kind of annoying in this one. And you know, all the other characters just really weird. You know, they're just what's the word? like the movie doesn't take itself seriously as it should, and yeah, that kind of is annoying. I don't like it. So moving on to part 7, which is called New Nightmare. So this movie is kind of like what do you call those, like meta, where it's like like a movie knows it's just or it's like a movie it knows kind of it's just a movie. I mean it doesn't really, but like it's I don't know what you call it, but in this movie Freddy Krueger he's just a movie character, but this demon, he takes on the form of Freddy Krueger, although a much darker version of Freddy, and he starts killing the actual cast of the movies, and they all have to work together to beat him, or they all have to just beat him, you know. So yeah, I really like this movie, or you know what? No, I didn't say I really like this movie, but it's a good time, you know. If you're just looking for some entertainment, then this is a good movie, okay? And next up is Freddy vs. Jason, and as you might have guessed, it's Freddy vs. Jason. Now, I did not like this movie. Okay, like don't get me wrong. I like the part where Freddy versus Jason where Freddy and Jason were actually fighting, but for the most part it was just boring teenager shit. Like I didn't care about that. Maybe if it was actually good characters I would care, but I didn't think they were good characters at all. I don't understand why it wasn't just Freddy versus Jason just fighting and just beating each other's asses. And I'm not really a Friday the 13th fan, so I would have liked to see Freddy kick Jason's ass all over the dream world, you know. That would have been awesome. So next up, I know this isn't included in the 8-disc movies, but next up is the remake. And I do not like this movie one bit. I just think it's disrespectful to the original. Like it's just not creepy, it's just not scary, and just Freddy isn't Freddy. I like to say it's not my Freddy, but because it's just not Freddy. Freddy's supposed to be funny, and Freddy's supposed to be scary but funny at the same time. This Freddy's just like too serious for me. I don't like him. Okay, but anyways, wrapping up that, moving on to National Security. National Security is a very, very funny movie. Okay. Now, I don't understand. People just complain about how it's so racist and stuff. Like you bring the racial stereotypes. Like just shut up. Enjoy the movie, okay? Like if Martin Lawrence, like if he didn't want to be in this movie, he wouldn't be in the movie, okay? I can assure you that. Or I can be pretty sure. I can just use common sense to suggest that. Yeah, this is a really funny movie, and I'd recommend you give it a shot. Here's another funny movie, Black Knight. It's about a man who he falls into this lake and he gets transported into like 14th century England, and he has to help them fight off this evil king who's been just being evil, you know. So Black Knight, really funny movie, and I recommend you give it a shot. There's one thing I'd recommend in this movie that I wish was done better, and that's like go into more detail of this world. You know, I feel like it wasn't really described much. I feel like that would have really benefited the movie a lot if they could just like discover what the hell this place is. You know, I'm sorry I said hell. I'm sorry about that. Next up is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Leatherface is one of my favorite horror movie characters of all time, except for Freddy. But he's in like very close second. Okay, so this movie is about a bunch of teenagers in Texas, and they go to this farmhouse because I think they were like asking for gas or something because they needed gas to go to their grandfather's grave because they needed to see if it was vandalized because of grave robbings and stuff. But yeah, so they find out that a bunch of cannibals are living there, including Leatherface, and one by one they're all murdered, and yeah, and Sally is the only one remaining, and I don't really want to spoil whether she lives or dies, but just And I really like this movie because I think like I think Leatherface was actually scary in this movie. And speaking of scary in this movie, there's an opening shot in this movie that takes place after all the camera shots of the skeletons, and it scared the shit out of me. Like every time I watch it, I try to go past it because I don't want to I don't want to see it. I really don't. Um and um so yeah, so I think like what I like about this movie is just how weird Leatherface is. Like if first he has he's being he's manly, and then he like a few minutes later, like towards the middle of the movie, really towards the end, like this is not a long movie. It's like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that, and he's wearing a grandma costume and he's being beat up, and I kind of felt bad for him honestly, like because his family like they like abuse him into doing stuff and that he doesn't want to do. They like manipulate him because he's like I think he's like autistic or he has some kind of mental challenge that prevents him from acting like a normal person. And basically, he's just a kid in an adult's body, or like a dog in an adult's body. Um, yeah. So, and the reason why he puts on all these masks is because like he doesn't really have a personality of his own. So like whenever he puts on the mask, he like dons that personality. You know what I'm saying? And towards the end of the movie, at the dinner scene, where he wears this mask called the Pretty Lady, and you guessed it, it's Pretty Lady. Yeah, not really much to discover there. Yeah. Um, the one thing that I would recommend that I would think would make this movie better is if they actually had characters in this movie, because I feel like they were just like bodies that were meant to be killed. They weren't really characters, but this movie is really creepy. Like it builds it for me personally. It really like built my suspense. So when Leatherface or when the final act finally implodes, it really scared me. Okay, so finally is Knock at the Cabin. Um, so this movie is about a family, a gay family. They have an adopted daughter, and they go to this woods. They go to this like remote cabin in the woods in like New Hampshire or Maine or something like that. And their cabin is like broken into by these strangers who have weapons, and they tell them that the world is about to end, and but it can be stopped only if one family member kills the other one. So yeah, and the family all has to agree on who to kill, and you can't kill yourself, or I don't think accidental deaths count either. Like if you're just like messing around with a gun and you actually shoot one of your family members, I don't think that counts. But I could be wrong. But I mean, it probably doesn't because that's not really a willing sacrifice, you know. So basically, throughout this whole movie, the characters are trying to like decide whether or not there's actually an apocalypse coming, or they're just trying to make them, whether they're just psychopaths and they're trying to make them kill each other. And I won't reveal what happens at the end. But basically, there's a major plot point in the movie where there's these where there's these visions and like by that the strangers have, and basically whenever a news report comes on, they say, oh, I remember that, I envisioned that, and yeah. So what am I gonna say? And also, like every time the family chooses to make a choice, one of the strangers kills each other, and that releases a plague upon humanity. And so I liked I don't know if you guys ever heard of the wrestler Batista, but he played the main character. He played the main stranger Leonard, and I thought he was really good in this movie. He was really entertaining, and he wasn't just a villain. I mean, nobody was really a bad guy in the story. Everyone was just kind of uh, they were kind of in the situation. You feel me? But yeah, so I highly recommend you check this out. There is one thing I don't like about this movie, and that's at random points in this movie, they cut from the cabin to like scenes that happened before the events of the movie with like the family and stuff, and it's not even like it really adds much to the story. Like I feel like you could have just the strangers could have just ask for information or something like that, and then I just would have told them. So I don't really understand what the point of that was. And but yeah, if you can just look past that, it's a really, really good movie, and it's based off a book called The Cabin at the End of the World, and I tried reading it, and I might try again, but it's just too detailed for me. I feel like it's just slow. It doesn't, for me personally, I like it when things when things in movies and books, they hit their mark, but they're not overdoing it. They make the point they need to make, and then they just go to the next scene. That's personally how I like my movies. And I do have more movies here, but they're movies that I've already reviewed before. So if you guys have any video ideas within reason, of course, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to, of course. I'm not gonna make you. I highly suggest you do though. Because if not, then I don't like you. I'm just kidding. I love everybody. Boomer, say hi. Boomer, say hi. Say hi. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy more videos coming out soon. I'm not sure what my video tomorrow is gonna be, but you bet for sure I'm gonna make one. Okay, probably not. I mean, probably, but maybe not. I don't know. Probably I will, though. All right, so peace out. Peace out. Peace.